Hello there, you beautiful little member of the audience. As mentioned yesterday, I'm going to talk about the spending review today. Ava's on holiday, Ed's in Ballymena, I'm in the studio. Let's buckle up. Today, I want to give you a bit of a read on Reeves's big cash splash yesterday, what I think she got right and what I think she got wrong, what her choices reveal about her politics, and the politics of the Starmer government, who they believe their political opponents to be. And that word, choice, came up over and over again. Her budget, her choice. And she's right. Every single component of this is a choice. It's a choice about how to spend, on what to spend, why to spend. All questions we can answer today. Or I'll at least try to. Is this austerity? Yes and no. Could it be different? Yes, it could. Is our generation losing out? Yes, it is. On the austerity question, nearly all departments are getting cut in some form or another in real terms. Business, down 2%, transport, down 5%, Foreign Office, down 7%, Home Office, down nearly 2%, Environment, down basically 3%. And, in case you hadn't heard from the mouth of Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer over the last year, or indeed during the Conservative government, these departments and their associated public services aren't swimming in cash. In fact, quite the opposite. By the time we get to 2030, a lot of these government departments will have suffered massive budgetary cuts, either by the deliberately destructive Cameron Osborne government and coalition, or the slow burn, like the end of a fag smouldering on a sofa, of inflation. And typically, that cigarette starts a much bigger fire, which we can all look forward to. Over the course of those 20 years, it's a lot of cuts. The technical definition of austerity is reducing public expenditure. But nowadays, I think the word is less about the public finances and more about a vibe. It's the language of tightening belts and paying off the credit card. It's punitive cuts to benefits. It's about making disabled people's lives harder. It's about prioritising pensioners over children. In those terms, Rachel Reeves is proudly continuing the tradition of Osborne, of Hunt. But on the other side of the ledger, there are massive increases in the health budget and others. The NHS is getting 60% of new day-to-day funding. Other departments, a generous 0.2%. Much needed. She should be applauded for that 60% figure. Waiting times are already coming down. Hopefully, they can go further. Fixing the perma-crisis in the health service would be a massive achievement for Labour, and they're on the way to doing it. Defence, as we know, also getting a massive uplift. The mom and pop shops, local high street arms manufacturers, well, they're going to get a big boost. That's the day-to-day side of spending. And then it's investment in infrastructure. Capital spend, where Reeves has really turned the taps on. To do this, spending review in a sentence, it's the overdue reform of her fiscal rules to plough money into infrastructure projects, but a corresponding constriction of day-to-day spending and real terms cuts. So, to my mind, it's an evolution of austerity. Borrowing to build, but cutting the day-to-day. Let's talk through some of that infrastructure spending now, because there's good stuff in here. And I appreciate some of this is a little dense, and you can kind of go big number blind, which I actually think was kind of some of the intention of Reeves's speech, to bombard you with colossal sounding numbers. So you go, well, she's spending. But that's not the full reality. But we do need to establish the facts of how she's spending in order to start having an argument about it, which I look forward to having with you in the subreddit, the YouTube comment section, and probably Twitter. The headline is this: we are borrowing to build. Bravo. Specifically, we're building 3 new prisons, repairing collapsing school buildings and building new ones, lots of cash available for transport projects in city regions outside London, Northern Powerhouse Rail, nuclear power, and very importantly, there is a record investment in house building, specifically social housing. At the moment, the annual budget for that is £2.3 billion. By 2030, it's going to be £4 billion. That's a massive uplift. And we should applaud Reeves for prioritising housing. It's a massive issue. And part of the problem in solving the affordability crisis, the fact that the average house price is now 8 times average earnings, and the last time that was the case, the motor car hadn't been invented, the Queen was called Victoria, and property ownership was the reserve of a wealthy elite and aristocrats, means increasing supply. It's not the only component part of solving the housing crisis. Rents need to come down, and absolutely crucially, in fact, this is probably the most important thing, social rent can mean several things. It can mean council housing, which we need a lot more of, but I don't think that's what it means in this case. In this instance, it means housing associations, private companies, charging social rents, and we need a lot more council houses. This is where my criticism of the government's house building policy comes in. This is good, but it's not enough. The government is targeting the construction of 1.5 million homes by the end of the Parliament. That's not enough. It's a little more than the Tories targeted, although they rarely hit it. The Centre for Cities estimate that we are 4.4 million units behind our European neighbours since the end of the Second World War. We need to go much further. And I would want to see a lot of those homes be council houses. And some of them should be small holdings. If you'd like a bit more of my perspective on that, then pick up this week's New Statesman, where I've got about 100 words on it. Or you can listen to my interview on the PoliticsJOE YouTube channel with Chris Smage, author of Small Farm Future. In sum, in order to avert climate catastrophe and lead more meaningful lives, I think a lot of us should return to the land. 2 acres and a cow, a well-trained dog, a loving lady and a place to take her. Someone put that on a tombstone and I'll stand in front of it for a photo opportunity. If I was looking to characterise the spending review as a whole, in the context of Labour's other work in planning reform, pursuing net zero, I would describe it as abundance light. Ezra Klein's new book, Abundance, that is. It's this futurist, optimistic, technological view. We can build things and they can be good, but they're not going full send. In short, defence and health are up. Big lift for social housing. Borrowing to invest is sensible and there's an increase to capital spending. But is our generation losing out? Yes. I think the defining split in our national politics is between its wage class and its asset class. Between people Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer may refer to as working people and pensioners / the wealthy. It's along that cleavage that party affiliation, Brexit vote, education, social attitudes, they cleave quite neatly. And the sort of unspoken truth in this spending review is that our generation is going to have to pay a lot of tax because of the preferential treatment of pensioners, the asset class, the wealthy. Our society is ageing. It's getting older. So we have a shrinking tax base with which to fund the frankly insanely generous triple lock on pensions. I'm aware, by the way, the state pension is actually pretty rough. It's one of the worst in Europe. But the triple lock is a degree of preference that we afford to no other group in our English society, British society, I should say. My point is, the pensions bill is always getting bigger, and the people paying tax to cover it is getting smaller. That's just one place in which this generational conflict plays out. And, by the way, I'm not ageist. If I could summarise my political philosophy in a sentence, I'm a beer-nite, right? It's cold beer in summer and warm pensioners in winter. But even right there, winter fuel. If you're earning less than 35 grand a year, I'm sure you'd quite like a couple of £100 towards your energy bills every winter. Pensioner poverty is real. And I'm glad the government changed its approach to winter fuel, even if it probably did go too far. 16% of pensioners are in poverty. 30% of children are in poverty. So, how can you justify the return of winter fuel in this way, but not lift the 2-child benefit cap, which costs approximately the same? In health, part of the problem in hospitals is that 1 in 7 acute beds are occupied because the NHS has nowhere to discharge them to. And any attempt by politicians of any stripe to try and get these insanely asset-rich pensioners sitting on houses worth £1 million is politically toxic. It destroyed Theresa May in 2017, and no one's tried since. You probably remember the dementia tax. What actually was it? Oh, when you die and sell your house, we'll tax a bit of it to fund your generation's astronomical care costs. No, absolutely not. No. Let's tax small business owners instead via employee national insurance contributions. These are political choices. By the way, while we're talking about care, which local councils are required by law to provide while having their budgets reduced by 60% since 2010 in real terms, didn't hear much about local government yesterday, which frankly is a bit terrifying. Because this is a spending review, you're not going to hear about tax changes. And I suspect we will in the budget in autumn. But again, in a sentence, tax wealth, not work. We could do a whole lot more with more tax. What else did the spending review reveal? Let's think about political opponents. Labour clearly are disregarding the Tories, who I think correctly they identify as in a death spiral and potentially going extinct. Instead, it's Farage. That's why you get announcements like no asylum seekers in hotels by 2029. They're going to house them in social housing instead, which will still cost money. That's dancing to the Farage tune as far as I can see. She mentioned him by name, in fact. So, in brief, what did Rachel Reeves get right? Borrowing to build prisons, public transport, nuclear power and housing. Increasing the health budget. What did Rachel Reeves get wrong? Continuing austerity. Big cuts for day-to-day spending in departments, not enough houses, cutting foreign aid to increase the arms trade. Could all this be different? Yes, it could. Will it be? Possibly. Maybe later. If Farage pulls off the very difficult thing of maintaining his poll lead over the next 4 years, then Starmer is going to need a different electoral coalition to beat him. And the relentless punching of hippies, of crushing the left in his party and elsewhere, is not exactly perfect preparation for beating populists. There we go, some thoughts on the spending review for you there, without the annoying interruption of Ed Campbell or Ava Santina. It's better without them, isn't it? And I've got something else to tell you about too. PoliticsJOE Premium is coming. We're launching a subscription service. It will have first access to our live events, as well as Q&As, live streams, the PolJOE group chat, and exclusive content. For about the price of a central London pint, an expensive one at that. I mean, I paid £7.85 yesterday with Adam Curtis. That's who I was talking about yesterday, by the way. Yes, an interview is coming. But for that price, you'll get all of those things, and you'll be supporting us to keep doing what we're doing on PoliticsJOE. It's hard out here, fellas. So any support you can give us, we really, really appreciate. More details on that, they will come over the coming days and weeks. But if you had the good grace to listen to me yapping on for this long, well, a little sneak peek for you then. All right. All the love. Take it easy. Speak soon.